just want to share with you the digital textbook tool that has risen in the past few years and have been aggressively marketed by publishing companies. What they're trying to sell us is that if you use this digital textbook, you will increase both the passing rate of your classroom, of your students, and retention rate, of course, for overall college. And as such, all textbooks are converted into digital textbooks, and the new textbooks that are created just digital. They have no actually original copy or a physical copy. I chose for my textbook or for my presentation a company that actually has this digital service, and they targeted me because I teach Intro to American Politics to actually use the book. So I adopted the book, and they say in terms of if you adopt the book that we promise you 3 areas where you're going to assess the book if it's successful. I tried the book for 1 year. So I was using another book for 1 year, and I will be comparing that physical book to the digital textbook that I'm going to be using. So in terms of content, they're promising that the textbook is going to replace the original or the traditional textbook with the high quality essays, videos, and primary resources that are going to engage students and make students more prone to finish the reading that are assigned reading to them. And they also, in terms of assessment, in terms of technology, they're telling us or selling the textbook as a simple digital tool that is going to be helpful for face-to-face classes. You can use it face-to-face classes or online classes. In my case, I use it on online classes on Blackboard. So that's what I'm going to show. And the third thing, active learning. Now, the idea that pedagogically, what are you going to be getting out of this? So in 3 areas, I followed for 2 semesters what is exactly the impact of the digital textbook that I used, and I'm going to be sharing this information with you. So in terms of content area, the content of the textbook is supposed to replace the textbook with, here's the actual textbook, what it looks like. So let's do this. Just going to show you how it looks like. Okay, here are the weeks, and when you click on each week, you will actually have the areas where you are supposed to be doing the reading. The reading is actually provided to you either text or voice. Do we have voice?
Oh, there's a knob over there. Yes or no?
Profound constitutional controversy. The British argued, in the words of the Declaratory Act of 1766, that the colonists had to obey Parliament in all cases whatsoever. At first,
okay, so in sales, they are promising me that this tool that is going to read for them, the textbook is going to read for them, is going to help the student to finish the reading. Students who have comprehension problems are going to understand the reading better, and in that sense, they're going to be able to finish reading as if there is somebody who's reading out loud the chapter to them. And also, the authors are also providing videos where they talk about the content of the chapter. And in that sense, what is promised is that we're going to have students finish the reading better, students are able to understand the material better and engage with the reading. So in that sense, I found the students like the video interviews, and also I found my students that talk about how wonderful is the book. In fact, in my area, a traditional textbook has the same content. So in terms of what they promise that they're going to sell me something that is going to be content engaging, is similar to any textbook that I used in the past. I think there wasn't a textbook that I used to use is also a traditional textbook. It's much better than this material. But in that sense, it's decent. My students liked it because they did not know other textbooks that they can compare it to. Okay, so what is negative that I found? Students who are on ASAP were not able to purchase the book because it's not a physical book. So if the CD-ROM comes to the library, they were able to take the voucher and go buy the book. So that's one challenge that I faced. The book price is decent. In that sense, I'm not here to sell the book. I'm not going to say what's the, but it's a lot lower than the average textbook. But the problem is ASAP students were not able to do, to buy the book. The second thing is that the interactive aspect of the service is actually a repeat of what Blackboard and ePortfolio do. So what they're trying to do is, which is here, if I close this, you see this area of activities and resources and platform. It's similar to what, so if you're using Blackboard already and if you have ePortfolio integrated into your course, this is just redundant what they have. So yes, maybe for school that doesn't have this technology, they don't use Blackboard, or they have problems access to Blackboard, there would be everything. So I disabled that actually. And I used Blackboard as an online class to engage my students. Right, what else? So the text is still difficult for ESL students. I mean, having to read to them out loud, I found that my students who had problems with understanding the vocabulary, the necessary vocabulary to understand, it's still reading the text out loud did not deliver on the promise that it was supposed to deliver. All right, and the second area, assessment in terms of technology. The positive things, of course, that it's environmentally friendly. You know, chopping trees, you know, printing books. You don't have a problem for reservoir of unused books when the new edition comes back, and in that sense, it is environmentally friendly. Also, students can have access to the book wherever they go. They don't have to carry the book with them. So long as they have an access to our Wi-Fi, students are able to do their reading. So they can go to the library, go to other places, they can get access to the textbook. Text-to-speech, a lot of students were telling me that they are understanding the material better once they hear the actual proper way to read the paragraph or to read the sentence. And in that sense, I got a feedback from my students that this is actually positive. And the idea that they're able to download, that's also another thing in technology, that if you look at the chapter in this icon, they can download the chapter and they can listen to it on their phone, on their tablet, on the go. And in that sense, I think it's very good. The more that they spend time with the material, the better and more or happier I am, and the better they're going to be performing. So what is the negative? Students must have computer and laptop to access the book. I have experience with students who are taking online classes, hybrid classes, or online classes, or fully online class, that they're accessing Blackboard on their phone. And in that sense, reading your book on the phone is a negative thing. You're not going to read your book on the phone. So in that sense, you listen to it, yes, you may listen to it, but are you writing notes? The book and the technology is supposed to help you also to highlight passages and write notes next to them that you see necessary. Students must have reliable Wi-Fi, like Blackboard. I get calls from my student, sorry, professor, I did not post on time, my Wi-Fi went off. In that sense, if they haven't downloaded the text and listened to it, they are not able to access the book. So same problems of having to access book in the cloud. Some students are tactile. As soon as I, introduced the class and I told them about the textbook, they start to clinch themselves. I don't like this type of books. Maybe because it's new technology. I don't know. But some, I would say, when we talk about 3-4 students are actually, usually they say we don't like that type of textbook. I'd rather have a physical textbook that I can flip the pages and I can read and highlight as I'm going. Okay. Plan ahead. This problem when I wanted to integrate. Technology was sold to me that you can integrate this book in Blackboard. And once I requested to do that, they said that they need, not my DCC, they said the company, publishing company said they need at least 6 months. They heard from the school that they need at least 6 months to integrate the textbook with Blackboard. And they promise more than they can deliver in terms of technology. So a key selling point is that I am able to monitor the reading habits of my students. I can know when they logged in, when they logged out, how long they spent with the text. Kind of Big Brother. I mean, it was an unethical thing at the beginning. Where you draw the line from the privacy of the student. But then I'm just trying this for 1 year just to see it. So in fact, they couldn't provide the service. And instead, what I'm provided with, a report that is sent to me, as I'm going to show now. Just go ahead. This is the report that is sent to me, Excel sheet. Okay, so I read from the Excel sheet. I know the student, when the student logged in, how long they spent, and so on and so forth with the textbook. And in that sense, they come and salespeople one thing, but when you deal with the actual technology is another thing. I think maybe because it's new and they are improving as they go. Also, the interactive aspect of the service is a repeat of, again, what Blackboard and Portfolio are doing. I see that, I would do much better interactive with my students, practice with my students or exercise with my students than that with the textbook. Okay. And the third and last area that I would like to share with you is the pedagogical part of the book. Okay. So the book is supposed to solve 3 areas. The one, no reading. The publishing company provided me statistics. They say 30% of students either don't buy the textbook or they are just winging it. And in that sense, having the service and having to see my students that they have purchased the textbook, I was able to verify that they are already, on board with me in that sense. The second thing is that the search reading, those students who use the professor guide, they use your PowerPoint, they use the notes, they don't rely on the textbook. How can you guarantee that they will be reading? This is the tool that you will verify if they are reading or not. So you look at their exams, and you look at if they are not reading, and then you say, okay, the student can improve more by spending more time with the textbook. So in that sense, you spy on them, but you realize that some of the students who are actually not reading at all, not doing well, you can speak to them and say, you're not reading actually your textbook. And in that sense, you can change the outcome of that. The third thing, which is, I think it's, if you ask me what is the best thing about this tool, is the poor reading students. So you can see here, this is my premiere of the class, in that particular class that I'm showing. This is the best grade in the class. This student is consistently have best grade. This is the second and third best. But look at this student. She is constantly failing her exams, but you cannot say that she's not trying. This is the student that actually, this kind of platform, right away, I contact her and I start saying, you need to, she has a problem, understand. This is one of the students who actually, even when she listens, she said, I don't understand fully what the textbook is trying to communicate to me. And she is an ESL student. And I was able to see here, right away, when you see the grade and you see the student is trying, in that sense, you can make the correlation between, okay, it's time to step in. If you want to help your student, the student is trying, but they are not able to actually capture what they Okay, so the negative things, pedagogical. still difficult again to ESL students. Still, if POL, if Introduction to American Politics books are written with simpler language, you can communicate to them the idea and they will pass their class. But part of it, you're in college also to improve your vocabulary. So where do you draw the line between how much easier you can dilute the textbook and how much actually you are trying to help the students that by the time they have their bachelor's, they are proficient in reading or writing English. Also, I found out that some students, like this student, they're just busy. They work on full time. You see, I mean, I sat down with them and said, so what's up? Why you're not reading? Well, I come to class straight from work. I sleep after school, and I wake up and go to school to work again. This one, I didn't highlight. The sporadic one, he reads at the hospital at night. So whenever it's not busy, at night, his night shift, he turns on his phone and he starts reading when he is at work. So that's the spots where he finds. So things like this, yes, things like this actually helps you to actually understand your students more. So assessment. This is in term 1 year without this textbook, the textbook before, and this is when the past 1 year. I went up because the 4 here is not in this one. Okay, there are a few students, when I logged in and generated this chart, there are a few students who got A's who did not register here. But this is the difference. Now, while it looks promising, this is actually can actually is miscommunicating the actual picture. Because one thing that students are different every class. So you may be blessed with one class and you say, wow, I can't believe that they are getting it easy. And sometimes the students are not. Another group that comes in, they don't perform as well. And the other thing too is that there are too many variables going on here. So my assessment at the end, I would like to say is that, yes, in terms of certain tools of how to help students who are struggling, students who are not finishing or understanding the material, it can help you. But in terms of it can improve retention, and I think this picture is misleading. It's way too early. There has to be a test that is run with controlled variables so you can actually see actual results. Because I'm sure if I go to the year before or the year before, I can bring the chart that's up here. Thank you. Questions? Yes? Go ahead, please.
What is the y-axis here? What the y-axis represents here? 0, 1, 25, 2, 23. What is that?
The grades, right?
That's the grade. So it's 4, 3, 2. These are the C's in the class.
Okay, individual one?
No, at Crunch, there are many students in every column. That's why the A's
So
are.
what's number 9 representing here? What does it mean?
That's the 9th category when I'm doing the spreadsheet. I was just entering the information. So those are the students who actually, when I went 2 semesters, no, more than 2 students. That's the 2 semesters, it's a full year. So when I went by, as I'm registering, I should have organized this so it would have more those together.
So how many students are in each year?
That's 40 and 40. I'm sorry, 40 and 60. Because you're not allowed to have more than 20 registered for online class. That's a fully online class. So this is 30, capped at 30 hour classes. And this is the documents. Students who drop there. Actually, yes.
So you mentioned you showed the spreadsheet so you can track student progress. Is there any other kind of interactive content there that you can measure student progress or assessment, like quizzes, reading comprehension?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But when I saw the quizzes,
Yeah.
they correlate where a student spends a lot of time reading. It does not correlate with that. And that's when you say, okay, I have to step in.
But those quizzes are built into the text.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see. But it doesn't necessarily correlate with another one.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't necessarily, you're saying, correlate with the not.
Exactly.
Some students are winging
You will
it.
see that some students are doing well. Let's go back to here. I'll show you something that I should have pointed out here. Let's look at my Premiere here. She doesn't spend much of time as those.
But one thing is, it's strange that they only give you this output. You would think the publisher would give you better, more
I was supposed to see actually the login time and
Yeah.
log out. That's why when I said what's promised to you, what salespeople come to your office and tell you,
Right.
it's not actually necessarily what you're going to be getting. Unless on the course 1 year.
Yeah.
So actually, student, I look at, that's a student that doesn't need a lot of reading and spend the time with the material, able to ace the class above everybody. So you can see the disparity is still who's struggling, the ESL students who are struggling.
And that,
Go ahead.
well, I'm sorry, I was just going to add to that. That's something that, I mean, Blackboard, as much as I dislike Blackboard myself, but Blackboard does a better job of this than this. And at that level, I mean, in this type of studies, we often see that time on task is not necessarily equal to, success either, right?
Just a simple question. Have you noticed the situation where the students are logging in but not reading?
Did I?
Because you're doing what they're doing. They're recording the log in, log out time, right?
Yes.
I assume some of the students
Just logging in.
log it in, sleep through the sleep.
Yeah, but up to midterm, they don't know. Up to the midterm time, when I met with them, they don't know that I can see what they're doing. That's why this is unethical.
Also listening.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah.
on Blackboard.
Yeah.
This is just listening. Does this measure also listening, or is it just the reading?
It will tell you which page, the reading, which page, which module they're listening to, and how much time they spend.
But they also capture how much, like reading. Like that one that's doing sporadically probably would benefit if you turned it into a
Or
blog
if
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Or how about if they download?
or download.
Then
Or
you
download.
lose control over that,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you.
And
I
one of the
haven't thought
benefits is to download.
Yeah.
Right?
So you
Yeah,
wouldn't have to.
I haven't
But
thought
you
of
don't
this.
know.
Yes,
You don't
yes.
know.
Please.
So did this cost money for that? This textbook? That
Yes,
you had to pay
for
back?
the ASAP students, they had to go out and buy.
Okay, so were there students that didn't buy access to the textbook at all?
I would see them.
You would see that?
Yeah, that's here.
So were you not able to
No,
measure?
they bought the book. I mean, again, one of the most important selling point was the price that I'm getting. Okay, so it's $34.
Oh, that's why.
That's the selling point that I'm getting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.